In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and we happen to... It's called Best Gen because most of us are from the same generation, and we happen to think that it was the best one, not because we're better than you, but because our movies and entertainment certainly was. So strap on in and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore, while simultaneously complaining about the poo-poo doo-doo that comes out of Hollywood today. It's a mixed bag. There's some good, there's some bad. We had Corwin on the show.
Yeah. Wanted a wild Corwin, and then he just...
And then, he's back. He's back.
There he is again.
The laptop decided to say that it was dead.
We had Corwin on the show for the first time in months, and we lost him in the intro, only to come back to an empty chair as well. We got Pulp Mortem in the chat.
Hey,
Thanks
Pulp.
for tuning in. You want to come back on, baby? You just messaged me. I love talking to you, man. We got Mark Clark in the chat.
Nice.
Who's watching from home instead of from work, where he usually watches us. Mark Clark is our inaugural channel member. If you want to become a channel member, if you want to be cool like Mark Clark, it's just 99 cents, and you get access to emojis you can use during the stream. But most coolly... you get early access to my videos. I put them all on members first before the release, and sometimes, if I'm in a copyright battle, you have access to those videos for months before the general public does. Especially my episode 2 of Doctor Who criticism has been under copyright for about 2 weeks now. I had to,
Well, heaven forbid Disney do anything that's negative, or not Disney. Well, yeah, is Doctor Who Disney now?
Yes and no.
It's
bought
partially Disney.
They bought the distribution rules, and they have some say over some creative control, but we don't know.
Oh, I still rest my point. Like, heaven forbid Disney let anything pass that is slightly critical of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mark Clark just gifted 10 memberships. Wow. Thank you, Mark. And we don't even have enough people watching to receive those, so it's just going out to random subscribers. So thanks for that, Mark. You're awesome. There's some... David's now a channel member.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, I can post... where did... I just closed the stream.
Yeah, one way or another.
Oh, and now a bunch of people joined who probably missed out on the gift. Well, thank you so much. So my Doctor Who video should have come out last week, but they hit me with a copyright strike.
Of course.
Except there's a new way YouTube can screw over creators now. Instead of giving a hard copyright strike, they can give you a notice saying, hey, if you don't delete this video in 7 days, then you're going to get a copyright strike.
Like The Ring, in 7 days, you're gonna die.
And your only option is to either delete the video or wait 7 days before you can before you can contest it. So now, if you're doing the math, if you want to know, a company can potentially hold your channel and video hostage for starting with 30 days. I got to skip those 30 days for this video because rather than just taking my money, they took the video down. So depending on how much they attack you, if they take your video off, if they block your video, you can jump straight to appeal, which is only 7 days. But if they just take your money, you can't jump straight to appeal. You have to start with a dispute, which can last 30 days. They can sit on it for 30 days, and on the 30th day say, we reject your dispute. And then you can start an appeal, and they can sit on that for another 7 days, and then they can reject that and add now, brand new, another 7 days where your video cannot be seen, and then hit you with a copyright strike, and then you can appeal that, and that can take 2 months. So that's a long time, and YouTube sucks. So I would much appreciate channel members, because then we can get past all this bullcrap, and you can see those videos. The current one.
Just realized I've been muted the whole time. So that especially sucks for content like yours, where you're reviewing.
Right. Where I review stuff in a timely fashion. I had the episode done in a relevant timeline, right? Like a couple days after it aired.
Yeah.
And now no one's been able to see it. This is episode 2. It's about a month late. So it's an effective way to silence all criticism of a show, right? If you don't want negative press. But I've got 3 days left of the appeal, so hopefully, unless they hit me with another copyright strike, you'll see that next week.
That looks good. Is that a quesadilla or something?
It looked like chicken to me.
Oh, yeah.
I had the unfortunate...
That's a piece of beef.
Yeah. I also had the unfortunate experience of watching the 4th episode of Doctor Who. And it was garbage. I'll tell you all about it. So we've got that to talk about. We've got the Jinx Part 2 penultimate episode. That's good. That's good talking. And we've got Outer Range, which I only managed to watch 1 episode, so I'm on episode 3. And because there's been so much this week, and Furiosa. I saw it in theaters, and I liked it. It's getting a lot of negative press, and it is not making a lot of money, but I thought it was a good movie.
So this Furiosa, is this a sequel to the reboot, or is it a prequel to the reboot of the original Mad Max?
I forgot. I'll answer your question in a second. I forgot to mention I'm very sick. All of my kids were throwing up, and I thought that I got away with it. And I got it on the last day, and so if I have to mute my camera, you know what I'm doing. So I'm just sipping on some ginger ale. But Furiosa, and I almost didn't watch this movie either, so I understand why it's not making money. Furiosa is a prequel to the reboot, which is a sequel to the first 3 movies.
Gotcha.
If you want to know Mad Max, the first movie is pretty dang good. It's very different. It's kind of a more personal, grounded story about like revenge and stuff like that. And there's basically there's not a lot of world building. It's a very like the apocalypse just barely happened, and we're watching the world spiral out of control. And and Mad Max is trying to keep his family in the chaos. And it's a very good story. I like Mad Max 1. And then Mad Max 2 kind of retcons Mad Max 1 in that it pretends that the apocalypse has been going on for a lot longer, which works. it makes the movie better because you get some really, really cool world building with this desert setting, which becomes a theme in all the other ones. So it kind of... I don't know if the first movie is even canon, but it's still definitely worth watching. The second movie is fantastic, and then the third movie is garbage. It does too much world building and too little storytelling, and it's nonsense. And then, like 20 years later, they did Mad Max Fury Road, which was a reboot sequel, recasting the main character with Tom Hardy. And I loved it. Corwin did not.
See, I don't like visually. The movie is
Stunning.
really well done. Visually, the movie is
Yeah.
stunning. The score is really good as well. I mean, just the effects, and I looked into how they made a lot of that stuff. All those explosions, all that crazy stuff. That's not the reason why it looks so.
Oh,
good
it's practical, yeah.
Why it's all real.
There is a lot of CGI in Fury Road, but it's mostly invisible. So it's like changing the backgrounds, adding storms and stuff. Like all of the stunts, that was all done practically in camera.
Explosions, the vehicles, all that's practical effects.
Yeah.
All that's real. And I'm just not a big fan of the world per se. And I'm just not a big. I'm not a big fan of the world, and I just didn't really like the movie. Like the movie itself, I'm like, meh. But visually, yeah, it was absolutely stunning. Visually, it was amazing.
See, everyone's entitled to their own wrong opinion, and that's fine.
I mean, even not just the effects. I'm just talking like the shots, scene for scene, all the shots. Cinematically, it's very crisp.
It's very pleasing. They also filmed. There's a whole bunch of backstory to the movie that made the action so fun too. They made sure that they framed each cut so that the next sequence took place in the same location of the screen where they were cutting from. Yeah. So it was designed specifically mathematically so that your eye never has to jump around the screen to find where the action was. So if someone gets pushed down and falls down on the ground, the next cut, like they're right there. And it seems like common sense now, but it's not, and it's so frequently just ignored in modern cinema that it also takes a lot more work to plan something like that. You have to know your movie has to be ready to be made, right? And you can't treat it like modern Hollywood does, where you're still writing the script as you're filming.
Yeah, everything had to be meticulously planned, and like I said, cinematically, as a movie, it is very, very good.
Another interesting tidbit is he asked his wife to edit the film, who had zero experience, and he's like, well, I don't want this to look like a generic action movie, so I want someone who doesn't know what they're doing to make this look good to them, and it will be a unique experience. And she won the Oscar for editing.
That's insane. I did not know that.
So you mean someone that actually put hardcore effort into it?
Yeah.
And wasn't on their knees?
So I think there's a little bit of, I think retroactively they're changing the story a little bit. I think he was like, I don't want to pay any of these hacks in Hollywood who claim to be good editors but actually do nothing, so I'm going to get my wife to do it. You're right.
He proved his point, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, I can understand not enjoying the aesthetic. It's a weird aesthetic. Everyone's dressed really kinky for some reason. The costumes are mostly just like fetish gear repurposed into like a post-apocalyptic. It's weird. That's weird.
That's why I like the Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah,
because it just makes fun of all the tropes.
But I loved the originals except Thunderdome, which is the only one Mark Clark has seen.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta ask you guys: have you watched the Chroma version, the Chroma black and white version?
I have not.
Oh.
I've heard it's interesting.
Now that you're sick and you have a little bit, I guess, like not time, but you know what I mean. That you need to rest.
Watch the black and white version of Fury Road.
Watch the version, chroma version, is out there. It has to be out there.
Oh
You're not
goodness,
gonna struggle to find it.
Mark, what are you
But
doing?
it is a version where it's completely black and white. It's chroma, so everything makes sense. I feel that this is the way the director intended for the movie to be originally.
Really?
The color
Because
correct, even the color correction is done way better.
the original is
When I
so
first
beautiful, though.
watched the movie, I didn't like it. I
Really?
I I I I, I probably thought the same thing that Corwin did. Like the visuals are cool and whatever, watching an IMAX. But I don't know. I didn't like the story. It was for me. It's just that I didn't watch it since the beginning. I started watching it since it was just the girls, and I was like, oh, it's just this BS, girl power movie. So I just watched half of the movie, which is just women, and this guy getting manhandled by Furiosa, basically, and just
Yeah.
being a mid shield for
Yeah.
them.
That is another. Before I forget, Mark Clark is insane and gifted another 10 memberships. So,
Bro,
thank
you're
you.
just giving it to
The,
random people and not me, bro. Like, that's disrespect. I'm joking. I know
it's
that
a,
you
it's
cannot.
supposed to default to people who are watching the
Uh-huh.
stream. So, but you're on it, so I don't blame you. Um,
Bro, I
yeah,
need to be
thank you
watching
so
it.
much, Mark Clark. You're crazy.
You're
I missed
crazy
one of your
loco,
comments.
brother.
I think this was about you're also on episode 2 of the Outer Range, but season 1. I'm assuming that's what it was.
I think that's about the time that it
But
went.
thank you so much. Yeah, the other valid criticism of Fury Road is that the focus is not on Mad Max, and I can understand if people don't like that. I thought it worked perfectly for the movie because it felt like an old western where the hero shows up to town. The story isn't really about the hero; it's about the town. He helps the town and then moves. It's Shane, He there's no more guns in the valley, and I'm out of here. And I thought it worked really well for Fury Road. I understand it didn't work for everybody because
Yeah, I mean,
he also didn't have a lot of lines in the movie, but that wasn't because it was a feminist propaganda. That's because he hated Charlize Theron and refused to speak to her. Which we know now why, because she's insane.
good. I agree now with it. No, I actually, when I saw the movie again, I thought that there's a lot of lines. It's
Yeah,
not that. It's not like he's completely mute.
no,
Um,
but
I
yeah,
would
the
just
common
say,
criticism was he's mute the whole time. You're
yeah.
like,
But watch
he's
the
just
chroma version is completely like I understand. Like
he's
when you
literally
see the meme, I
yeah.
understand now.
He's
I
literally the
understand
white
now.
savior of the story, okay? Like we should like that. Okay.
No, but watch the black and white. Every single thing on the chroma version, every single thing is way better
I will
looking.
check it
Like
out. I'll check it out.
the outfits make sense. The makeup, now you see literally now you see every single detail of the makeup. The scars and all those things because the color correction is, I guess, is way less complex and you can put more time on it when it's less colors and it's just like a chroma version.
Yeah.
It's just black and white.
You've
And
sold me.
I guess
You don't need to keep preaching to the choir. I'm going to watch the black and white version.
yeah, and that was my only criticism. And now I like that after watching just the version, the
Mhm.
visuals in the first seconds of the movie, the visuals will capture you when he's hallucinating. Oh my
Uh-huh.
god, in black and white is insane. You don't even see if it's CGI. It looks
Right.
real because of the chroma correction. Um,
Charlize
yeah,
Theron does clean up pretty nice.
But she's crazy.
She's insane now. And
She's
she
she
she's
doesn't anymore. She's
and she
passed.
turned
She's the
all of
wall.
her girls into boys.
She
Or
is
the
the
other
wall.
yeah.
or the other way around.
I can't remember which one it was, but either way it's gross.
Always
But
better.
I know, like Charlize Theron in Italian Job was. I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid. Okay.
Yeah, but now I didn't like it when I first saw it, and now I liked it because I saw the full movie with the chroma thingy, and yeah, it's a great movie. I would say I'm gonna watch Furiosa tomorrow because Memorial Day is my first holiday ever After working 2 years in a row, I have never had a holiday.
See, Mark, like, this is the problem. I'm the only one that watched Furiosa.
So I will say this on Furiosa. The actress, what is her name?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy. So for the longest time, and this sounds very shallow, but it makes me laugh. I can't decide if she's attractive or not. I really can't. I can't.
She's kind of mid.
Yeah.
And then it hit me. Like, I see her face, and I'm like, and that's not a bad thing. Like, you don't have to be attractive to be a good actress. But I'm like, I've seen this face before. And then I remembered another movie she was in. She was in Ice Age as Sid the Sloth.
Okay, that's a little extreme. I don't think she's that bad looking. I think she's not. I think she's above average. I don't think she's mid.
Sit the sloth and pull up her face.
But there are definitely movies.
There
are definitely movies where she looks a lot better than other movies where they make her look frumpy on purpose.
She's like,
but I thought she was perfect for this role. But even me, I went in, I saw Furiosa. I almost didn't. I almost completely dismissed this because I didn't think I was going to like it. It looks like feminist trash. Why would we want a Mad Max movie without Mad Max in it? But I told myself, I've liked 90% of George Miller's other movies. I think I owe it to him to check out Furiosa. And I loved it. I don't think Corwin would like it. If you didn't like Fury Road, you're not going to like Furiosa. The aesthetic is the exact same. The story and the pacing are very different, though. It's a very non-traditional narrative that takes its time. It still has great action set pieces, but they're spread out, and there's a lot more character growth and a whole lot more world building, which I wasn't quite expecting, but appreciated. If you liked Thunderdome, would you like Furiosa? Probably. It's kind of weird like that. And I also understand a lot of the criticism that the movie. I think the criticism is too rough. I think there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, see, we told you it was woke trash," and they didn't even watch it. You know. But I also don't blame them because I almost didn't watch it either.
I saw people saying bad things about it. What do you think? Why are people?
It's slower. It's probably a little bit too long. The narrative is not generic, but I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? It doesn't take the traditionally satisfying routes that you'd expect it to take. Instead, it takes very interesting routes that I appreciated. Probably the biggest criticism is that a lot of the movie is building up to a large confrontation that happens off screen. And at first I was like, oh, this is an interesting choice. But then they present what they want the ending to be focused on instead of the big fight scene. And that's the thing. There were fight scenes. There were lots of fight scenes. You just didn't get the all-out war. But there's two factions that start. They fight, and then it leads to an all-out war at the very end, and it's done in a couple seconds of montage. Okay.
Seconds.
But that it kind of would have been boring. It was just an all-out pitched war, and the ending that we get to spend time on because we skip over that was I really, really liked where they went with the ending. And I don't want to spoil it, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
All right.
Chris Hemsworth. So I know people are going to be pissed. Like, oh, we wanted to see the big fight scene. But it would have been bland and generic. It would have just, they already had good fight scenes. And instead we got something more personal at the end, which just really worked for me. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic the entire time. If I didn't know that his name was on the movie, it would have taken me halfway through the movie to realize it was Chris Hemsworth.
Huh.
He gave a phenomenal performance as the bad guy, and his speech patterns are completely different. Like you do not see Thor on screen. You do not see any of his previous roles. It still looks like him though, but he's crazy.
So,
There's a scene. Okay, this is a selling point for the ladies. There's a scene where he's doing an up close, personal, like intimidation scene where he like puts his hand on the shoulder of Furiosa, and the camera is just right here, and his arm takes up the entire frame. It's so big, and I knew that Chris Hemsworth was ripped. I had no idea he was that ripped. Like, it was the biggest tree trunk of an arm I've ever seen. And his shirt is off the whole movie, ladies.
Of course it is.
Jared's here.
Jared.
Hey. The right time, it seems that you were talking about Chris Hemsworth muscles and you summoned Jared.
Go.
We know Jared. We talk about Chris Hemsworth, and he shows
You're
up.
getting there, brother. You're the fourth Hemsworth.
See, Martina will like it. Also, I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was fantastic. I think she's going to be one of the biggest stars of Hollywood in the future. Like she is a phenomenal actress, and I cannot wait to see her as Aaliyah in Dune Part 3.
Yeah,
She's gonna crush it.
I mean, I teased with the looks and stuff, but like off the top of my head, she was a voiceover in Mario movie, correct?
Yes, she was Princess Peach. Yeah,
Princess Peach. Yeah.
She played in The Menu. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
I did, and she was pretty good in it.
That was
phenomenal.
overrated.
She did a good job in the Queen's Gambit too. That was good.
Queen's Gambit. She played in Split.
I literally played chess in high school, and I have not watched the Queen's Gambit
It
yet.
was Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
That is basically what
Peaky Blinders.
started her career, or stardom.
I mean, she's had a few stinkers like
Played in Glass,
the
Split.
X-Men movie that was
Yeah,
that was in a
but that was not her
insane
fault. Like,
asylum.
she did her best in that one. Like,
Oh,
she was the only one trying.
or whatever.
Huh?
The New Mutants one.
Yeah,
was
she was the main character in that one.
That movie is funny bad. Like that movie is
I
really,
never
really
saw
bad.
that one.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Jared, did you end up watching Furiosa or no?
Oh no, I didn't watch Furiosa.
Okay, it's just
You are
me.
not Furioso.
But I did watch. I watched the Outer Range, and I watched some Doctor Who as well.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
I know, and I also watched the Jinx. So I'm ready
Okay.
to talk about that
Okay.
for sure.
Nice.
Well, David and I are both only on episode 2 of The Outer Range because I've been sick and I don't know what David's been doing.
Well, I've been watching it, but my wife's fallen asleep at the end of episode 1 and 2, so she has no clue what's going on. Even more than I do. You know, I don't know what's going on, and I've watched the thing.
But seriously, I was shocked. I was pleasantly surprised about Furiosa in theaters. I fully went in expecting to hate it, and I loved every second. There's some really, really good action scenes that are really long too, like drawn out, just grueling action scenes. Chris Hemsworth just is on fire the whole time. Anya Taylor-Joy does a great job of replacing Charlize Theron. I like her performance better than Charlize Theron's performance.
Mm-hmm.
And also the child actress. They got a child actress to play Anya Furiosa as a kid. I thought that it was Anya Taylor-Joy like de-aged. She looks like the casting was perfect and her acting was pretty great too.
Where did they find a second bug-eyed child?
And there was a surprise performance from another male lead whose name I cannot remember. He's got the lip thing like what's his
lip?
huh? Yeah, he's got a cleft lip. But he plays a love interest, and he was great the whole time on screen. Also, New Zealand's previous prime minister plays a character in the show, and it's hilarious. Because he's in fetish gear.
Okay.
New Zealand, the one that quit.
Sorry, not Australia, not New Zealand. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, Outer Range is confusing for sure, especially if you fall asleep and you're not paying attention. So
Yep.
But anyway, I highly recommend Furiosa. I did not expect it, and it's probably not going to do very well because like the title of this episode says, nothing is doing well right now. But it's not like we haven't had financial box office successes in the past. But yeah, Furiosa only got like 30 million this weekend. Not
Yeah, I
good.
wanted to ask you about that. Like, what do you think about that? Because
Barely made more than the Garfield movie. I think word of mouth can help it, but it might not. I think people are just kind of pissed at the trend of just replacing all the male characters with female leads. I don't think this applies to this movie, but I understand why people are upset because I almost didn't watch it either, right?
Yeah.
The Fall Guy is already streaming.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's streaming right now. It was it was in theaters for 2
Amazon,
weeks.
right?
Was
Oh,
it
right.
was it that bad? Was it really that bad?
No, I
No.
loved it. I loved the
Yeah,
Fall Guy.
great.
It was great.
It's really good. In Mexico has
That's what I
guarantee.
really want to see.
Like people are really liking it in Mexico. When they have the tag of guarantee in Mexico, is
Uh-huh.
because people are really, really, really liking it.
This one's the most depressing, though. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a massive flop, and this is the best. This is the best movie I've seen this year. It's
That-
wonderful.
Yeah.
They had to bring someone else, maybe. I don't know. Like I
That is
don't know.
crazy.
Like I don't know why this movie did bad. Like I cannot. The cast is
so
mostly
good.
Stars, yeah.
The cast is fantastic. The acting's fantastic. The director's fantastic. The story's fantastic. It's the real life story of James Bond. It's a true story, guys, and it's freaking good. But people are tired. Like, I'm like, it's upsetting to see that good movies are suffering, but at the same time, the movie prices are so high, and people are so fed up with Hollywood. I completely understand it.
And the
$10 bucks,
economy is
like-
in trash. in general.
The economy's in the trash. Thanks Obama.
$10 is 2 tacos, bro. Like you're not gonna sleep on them tacos. You know what I mean? Like
So it's crazy. Like we've had 3 bangers in a row, and they're all gonna lose money, and Hollywood is screwed, and it's their fault. I don't feel bad for Hollywood. I feel bad for the people who made these movies because they actually tried, and they came up with something that's good, and but the world is on fire right now.
Yep.
also to be honest, the marketing was kind of trash. Like let's be honest. I haven't heard about Furiosa.
That's another point.
In 4 months,
Yeah.
the only thing I heard it was just controversy saying that it was gonna be feminist.
I've
Whatever.
seen a lot of ads for Furiosa. The problem is those ads, the effects were not done,
Oh.
and that one of the biggest selling points of Mad Max was that you couldn't tell when there was CGI
Yeah.
because it was all done practically, and the CGI was all in the background stuff. And then the trailer for Furiosa looked like it was all done on green screen. It looked awful, but then in theater, 90% of it didn't look like that. There were still a couple shots where I was like, okay, this is clearly CGI, where you could tell, it wasn't as good as Fury Road, where you could tell there were CGI shots. But like the famous scene that everyone was clowning on was when she's like up against the gate and there's an explosion behind her. That looked horrible in the trailer, and it looked fine in theater. It looked perfect. You couldn't tell.
How much is the budget?
It's a lot. I just closed that tab, but it's like it's not as much as a Marvel movie, but it's like 130, I think.
But I wonder if it's as much as Barbie, for example, which is something that, like, for some reason, brought a lot of people. Well, first of all, Barbie marketing was obnoxious. Like, it was literally everywhere. You could not get rid of it. It was on every app, on every
it was bad.
website, every single YouTube video had a Barbie. and Oppenheimer didn't have as much as a marketing like that, but the whole meme for the Barbenheimer basically carry a lot of the Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer is like a movie for the ages, it's a movie once in a
Mhm.
lifetime, I guess, movie. Um,
Yeah.
Yep.
so I guess that they just should have put Furiosa on DoorDash. you know, do you guys get those like ads on your apps for like
Oh
movies?
yeah.
I always get apps
Yep.
like the other day. A year ago when it was House of the Dragon, I think that's the reason why House of the Dragon was also successful. There was an ad where the little car where they bring you the food was a dragon. It was a
That's
little
pretty.
dragon.
That's
That was
smart.
like,
That's smart.
yeah, that was
Um.
really smart.
So
Barbie was a Barbie car.
Furiosa had the same budget as Fury Road. It cost the same, just over 150 million.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, that's a big
Fury Road
flop.
made its money back. It made about 400 million, and this one,
I would
I don't
argue
know.
that Free
I don't
Road
know. I
also
thought
did
word
a,
of mouth would save Ungentlemanly Warfare, and because it was so good, and no one went and saw it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
even know if there's even more mouth to mouth anymore. Like I haven't seen a movie that hasn't dropped from first week to week two, right? They always drop a little bit. Maybe the drop is not as hard as the rest. Well, unless you're Barbie.
Some of
Yeah.
the indie films will get a bump the second week.
But it's not like you're not talking about millions, like
No,
like it would be with these kind of movies.
See, none of those. Look, just looking at it though, none of them have made the top of these ones that we see. Like
no,
the top
no.
10 grossing movies.
This is
Top grossing movies of 2024. The top 10: Dune, Godzilla, Kung Fu, Kingdom Planet of the Apes, Ghostbusters, Bob Marley, Wonka, Mean Girls, Fall Guys. Weekends, the
just all
biggest
flops.
ones,
All flops.
Dune, Godzilla, Kingdom, Kung Fu, Dune. So Dune hit it twice.
Dude made money.
Ghostbusters, If, Godzilla, Kung Fu Panda, Bob Marley.
This weekend with the Memorial Day weekend, this was the worst performing Memorial Day weekend box office in the last like 30 years.
really.
Yeah, 30 years literally.
Wow.
I
I remember
believe
it
that's
was
the
a good
figure.
weekend. Did the Memorial Weekend was the weekend where they released Top Gun or something like that? I don't remember, but you know what I mean. It used to be a good weekend. I remember
Yeah.
last year there was a movie where I watched. I think that was Transformers or something like that.
Yep, 30 years. I just looked up the number.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the weird thing is that if people
It
don't
was
show for
this
the
shot right here. In the trailer looked awful, but in theaters it looked great.
Oh, what I understand is if people don't go to the opening week, they just don't go, right? That's why we see these drops. Like if they are not interested in going first weekend
Yeah.
or maybe second weekend, they're not gonna go. Even if the movie is good, there's I'm just gonna wait for to go to streaming and it goes to streaming in a month.
Mm.
Is a month is not that much time, but in movie time, in box office time, is a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah.
David, I got something that'll piss you off.
All right, hit me with it.
Taika Waititi is doing a TV remake of Time Bandits, and there won't be any dwarves in it.
Mm.
Of course not, because that's you can't cast dwarves anymore. They're second-class citizens now. I really don't understand.
I neither. Like, they want to be.
If there was
dwarves.
one person that could have made a good TV show reboot remake of Time Bandits, it would have been Taika Waititi 10 years ago.
Sure, yeah.
I would have
Or
been
Jake.
all on board. I would have been on
Mhm.
board. He has the perfect blend. He has the exact same style of humor. If you haven't seen Time Bandits, this was Monty Python before they came up with the name Monty Python, and it's one of their best movies. It's so freaking good. So
He's just gonna
yeah.
be wacky and annoying. I don't know. He's gonna probably be casted on it.
So you can thank Peter Dinklage for screwing over all dwarves.
Except him. Yep.
Yeah. He recently got casted as a dwarf in a movie. Literally like a year ago.
Yeah.
On that Hunger Games reboot
You guys remember they finally
preview.
got a working script for Blade, the Blade movie. They're rewriting it again.
Again.
Uh,
Of course.
But look, read the whole line. Blade is going through another major rewrite. The studio is searching for a new writer, but they found the story they want to tell.
so they just
Don't you normally find the writer first?
Yeah. So the problem is the writers don't want to
Good evening.
tell the story that they want told.
Yeah,
They're not writing the message that they want
they're
shoved in their
ugh.
narrative. Yeah.
Evening, Jacob.
Yeah,
this is just
it is
awful.
really hard to make a story about a black guy killing vampires. That's really hard.
Just-
They're gonna make it about Africa. Like, how much do you wanna bet that they're gonna make it about Africa somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's gonna get cast out of Wakanda and get bitten by a vampire. And
Oh,
gosh,
they're
this just-
thinking the White Devil. I hope they don't call like they're gonna do allegory to something like that. All the vampires are gonna be white.
the Wolverine video game is going to be actively pushing LGBTP plus propaganda. This is the lead narrative director. They're going to be pulling every lever to push wokeness down your throat. So you have that to look forward to if you wanted to play a game about murdering people with stabby claws.
She looks completely functional. She looks like a completely functional
flop.
animal that is
That's
not
the
probably
thing. It'll flop. It'll
yeah,
flop.
high on pills. No, they don't flop. These games don't flop, but they do get like roasted online, which is
I mean, they'll
which is
flop.
fine.
Like, for example, look at because games are more my thing rather than movies. Look at Killing the Justice League or To Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, but also look at Spider-Man 2. That
Yeah.
made money and it should not have.
Yeah,
It did make money, but you can look at a few of these that have come out very recently, and they are complete flops. Spider-Man is
Yeah.
a shoe in. Spider-Man is a huge, huge
Yeah.
franchise. No matter what it touches, Spider-Man.
Well,
is
it's
big.
the biggest superhero franchise of all time.
yeah.
right.
Well,
If you
aside
take
from
if you,
Batman Arkham Knight, yeah.
Spider-Man's
Right.
bigger than Batman.
No,
Dude. I'm talking IP. Spider-Man is bigger than Batman.
It was Spider-Man, and then I believe Batman's right behind it. But the thing is Batman is such a far second.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man is just huge. And so,
Yeah.
but look, I mean, you can look at some of these games that have come out recently that they've done this to, and they have lost their pants.
Yeah.
No, I know that.
One way-
Yeah, I know the last Marvel one they tried to do did not do very well.
The
at
Avengers
all.
game, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the
There's
last
one
one.
way
but it
this
didn't
game
do well.
can
it was.
flop.
Yeah, that one
And
flopped.
if they push a lot of the narrative too early, like when they are doing the trailers and all that, if
Yeah.
they push a lot of the LGBT whatever narrative, they're gonna trash the game. Like
Can you
Twitter
can you
is
just
really
close your
important.
eyes for a second and be like, hey, we're making a Wolverine game. Now imagine the kind of person that you would want writing a Wolverine game and then open your eyes and then throw up.
yeah, not gonna lie, I would like a guy like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman writing a Wolverine game. That would be really fun.
I literally want the grossest looking human male, as fat as possible, basement dweller, just with a Mountain Dew IV, and
Either that or Henry Cavill. Yeah.
yeah.
To Kill the Justice League. So, for example, To Kill the Justice
To
League.
be fair, she looks like she'd cut you. Good one.
To Kill the Justice League lost the company, lost Warner Brothers the game.
It
They
did.
lost them $200 million. They lost $200 million on it.
Yeah,
That is not a small amount of money.
Did you see the expansion where they're they turned Mr. Freeze into a trans woman.
Yes. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I'll see if I could find it.
Limao. Oh
But-
yeah, I remember, like an Asian woman, yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Every trailer for this Acolyte looks so bad.
They dropped a scene from The Acolyte, and it's trying to be a kung fu movie.
Yeah. And I
It's
wonder if they're
ridiculous.
trying to be racist or something, but that why all the Asian characters that they always put in these Star Wars projects, they always had to do like some kind of BS freaking kung fu panda BS bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like the Donnie Yen,
Jedi,
they
yeah.
put him with the bamboo stuff, and he was blind and a monk and whatever. Literally a Asian stereotype. And now we put this guy who is Korean, who probably never did any martial arts in his life, and now he's trying, like, he has to do kung fu shit because he's Asian in Star Wars.
This is Mr. Freeze now.
Lovely.
So you have that to look forward to if you're still playing whatever that game is. But yeah, I don't want to watch this. It's it's some of the worst choreography I've seen, and they're trying to do like he literally
this?
this is the Acolyte.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to make it a kung fu thing. There's a lightsaber whip, and it's dumb. Okay.
I'm gonna chillax here.
Did you guys see this one? Did you guys see this one?
Yeah.
Nope, I didn't see that.
It's the Jennifer Lopez Netflix movie.
Atlas is called.
Here, let's see if I can share sound. So, it's just another reason why I don't blame anyone for not watching Furiosa. Despite it being good, and I wish people did watch it, this is why people didn't.
Oh, okay then. Wait, how did it know I wanted coffee?
I'm sorry, but my pronouns are she and her, not it.
Oh.
So,
Great, that's fantastic.
robots
So,
have pronouns now.
Fantastic.
Robots in disguise.
Yeah.
As really a transformer.
That's a good one, Alexa.
Yeah.
There was
I'm
some
actually just gonna start calling the T's transformers. Is that like?
No, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get around it. They started banning people who were fixing cars, who weren't even talking about it. If they talk about the transmission, but there's a shortened version of it, they would get banned from YouTube for talking about cars.
Yeah, there was a sign here in Mexico. I was walking down the street, and there was a mechanic, place where they were fixing transmissions.
Yeah.
There was like a part that we sell trans part. We assemble to do your trans.
That's pretty good.
And I was like, no way.
work on
I
trannies.
love the picture,
Yeah.
but
There was
it's
some
still out there. Like, I know I can't find it.
there was some big George R. R. Martin news.
I
He-
heard
So that
that.
his book isn't done. Shocking.
well, he's going to be writing more stuff.
my
He's going to write more Dunkin' Egg after he finishes Winds of Winter.
Yeah, which means he's
Oh my
gonna
God,
die
can he
before he
just
writes
get
it. You guys
to it?
understand? You guys understand? Winds of Winter has been.
Yes.
He's been writing Winds of Winter for the past 15 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, but
It's-
House
it's
of
kinda
Dragon
crazy.
is coming out in 2 weeks, right?
House of Dragon comes out very soon, and I'm
And see, that's the
reading
thing.
the book.
He's just cashing in on his Game of Thrones cash cow from HBO.
Honestly, what he
And-
needs to do is just stop writing Winds of Winter and write more Dunkin' Egg because people like that series more.
He needs to just outsource Winds of Winter.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
he does.
he does. He needs to outsource it. He needs to
But
find
look-
an author that he really likes and needs to say, "This is the story. This is the storyline. This is what I want you to go. Do it," and
Look.
and it get written.
I feel bad for him. Like I we clown on him a little bit, but he has been writing stuff, just not Game of Thrones, not A Song of Ice and Fire, right? So the last one, Dance with Dragons, was 2011. The first two books came out real fast. So you had Game of Thrones, in 96. Clash of Kings 2 years later. And then the third book 2 years later. And then Storm of Swords. Wait. No, that's not. The Feast for Crows was 5 years later, and then 6 years later was A Dance of Dragons. But those were supposed to be one book.
And now we're 14 years later.
So 11 years later for the next book that he split into two. So it's been a long time, but he keeps writing stuff. Here's what's funny though. These are all the Duncan Egg books that he has planned.
He'll die before
he wrote 3 of them, and people love them. So honestly, outsource Game of Thrones and just start because they're adapting Duncan Egg.
Oh no! Don't start on that.
I would do.
No. People are excited because it's his best series. They're adapting Duncan Egg. They're starting production like next week, filming.
Why would they start on another series from George R. R. Martin on a series that is not
that's unfinished? I know exactly,
why
which is why he needs to drop Game of Thrones, give it to someone else, finish Duncan Egg, and then write the sequel to.
It's just going to be Game of Thrones season 8 all over again because they're going to be like, "Hey, we've got at least 7 or 8 years before the end of the show, and by that point he'll have the book written and we can do a screenplay." And then 8 years is going to go by and he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm only on page 50." Because
There's supposed to be a sequel to House of Dragon too. So I'm reading Fire and Blood right now, and there's supposed to be a sequel, Blood and Fire. It's crazy. I'm halfway through the book, and the TV show has not started yet. They could have milked that book for like.
They didn't know. They didn't know if people were going to come back after the disaster.
Yeah,
they couldn't. They couldn't. Why? Because you're halfway through that book, and the main character of the TV show, which is a woman. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine with it because I think she does a great job and it's a great show. Isn't there? It doesn't push their narrative. Hence why they got rid of well over half the book.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit their narrative, so they're not going to do it.
King Viserys was just born halfway through the book.
Yeah, it's there's dragons, there's fighting.
It's really good. They could have had 2 seasons on Aegon the Conqueror, and then they could have had 4 seasons on Joe Harris, whatever his name is, because his story's fantastic, and I'm not even done with it yet.
Yep.
I'm gonna start reading Fire and Blood before the show starts, so I have a little more context. Yeah.
But look,
because my ex was the one that read the books, and she was my encyclopedia for House of Dragon, but she forgot her books, so now I'm gonna read the books that she left. Now I'm gonna know all about that shite.
But seeing how much stuff he's written, all these prequels and sequels and stuff to Game of Thrones before finishing Game of Thrones, I think he just wrote himself into a corner with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And so he's still writing though. Like I almost have more faith in George R. R. Martin than I do with Patrick Rothfuss. Because all Patrick Rothfuss has done is release 2 novellas.
I was going to bring that up too, but I'm glad you did that.
and one of his novellas was just a re-release of a short story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
I think he's clearly still writing, but his priority is not Game of Thrones anymore. So honestly, just lean into it. Just get someone else to finish it and write the stuff that you want to be, that you have passion for.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making TV shows out of it, so hurry up. Don't do the same thing you did to Game of Thrones, right? So that's just my professional opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are excited for Duncan Egg, and it's a really cool story. So, okay, the rest of these are about Doctor Who. It's just ratings. So that's all the news.
Corin, have you been able to watch any of these shows that
No.
we've kind of been discussing?
Corwin hasn't watched anything. He's too busy with life.
I'm pretty busy with life. Yeah.
Oh,
That's good. That's good.
Oh, nice.
Mark Clarkster, I have not read Lightblade yet. I have it, and I haven't started it yet because I've been busy.
I really want to
Yeah,
read.
you guys. I'm gonna head out because you're gonna start talking about shows that I haven't watched and probably not gonna watch.
Okay, what do you have to plug though? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean the video is up for Primos. Apparently it got canceled. I mean it's probably gonna get canceled after all. Probably written off as a tax break
Right.
by Disney.
What a shame. What a shame.
What a shame! It's gonna be
So
my
fun to have
Christmas,
both
bro.
the- Okay.
We were gonna release the part 2 with more slurs and and things like that. I was gonna
Oh.
make another parody
Oh.
with the Kendrick Lamar song. I don't know if you guys have been following the Kendrick Lamar Drake
No, I
beef.
don't. I don't do hip hop.
I love hip hop because it's art. Kendrick Lamar makes art of hip hop. He all other hip hop is garbage, and he makes art out of that genre. Although I don't like the way he portrays the police, to be honest. But yeah, he has been doing some beef about Drake, and he exposed Drake as what he is, a piece of trash. A pedito, if you know what I mean. I cannot say the word.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's outage as that he likes a minor. And yeah, we're gonna do a parody about that, but check out the latest video that I put. It's doing good, so if you can drop a comment, it's gonna do better.
Angry
yeah,
Max just hit 10,000 subs.
Yay! I was gonna get some cake to celebrate, but I was gonna ask you guys because you have way more experience with sugar than me because you guys are adults. And it's not a good idea to eat sugar or cake at night, right? It's not a good idea.
I mean, right before you go to sleep, it's not the smartest now.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't. You won't burn it off.
It'll convert straight to fat. You know.
Yeah, maybe I
do
just
that all the time. What are you guys talking about? I'm just kidding.
Maybe I just eat my beef.
Jared, instead of eating breakfast in bed, he just eats dinner in bed.
Exactly.
That is so cool. I would love to do that. Although, be careful, don't choke, please. Be careful. No, like I'm not even joking. I had a relative that died, like literally like that.
Oh no.
Yeah. Literally, don't like. Be careful. Spend a little time before you actually go to bed. What you do, your digestion. But yeah, guys, thank you for having me. I'm not gonna go and buy cake in the middle of the night because I'm fat, but I'm not like I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to not eat cake.
Go buy them.
Next week is the last episode of the Jinx season 2, and it's also there's also that Western movie that I'm probably not going to get around to watching until much later.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It's got Aragorn in it though, and it looks really good. I already have to take my kid to go see Garfield on Tuesday, where it's $5 movie day. So
I'm gonna watch Garfield actually. I tomorrow because I have a day off. Maybe I do a marathon and I watch Garfield and Furiosa.
And then the next week is The Acolyte, which I'm not looking forward to.
Oh my god! When does that come out?
And then
I'll hold judgment. Judgment to see it.
The Acolyte comes out June 4th.
June 4th?
And then House of the Dragon comes out the next week while we're streaming, so we'll be a week behind.
Nice.
Oh, a week behind again?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hey, on speaking of books, though, have any of you guys heard of the Red Rising saga?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Read it?
I've heard great things. It's on my list, but there's some timely things that are getting adapted I have to read first.
Oh, by Maxa.
I've heard nothing but praise.
I've read the first two. I read the first two because in my job I have a lot of time to read.
He just released the new book like last month, right?
Yeah, Lightbringer or whatever. I read the first two. They're good. I'm not like enthralled. It's basically Hunger Games
on the moon, on Mars.
On the moon. Yeah, Hunger Games on Mars on the moon, and then on top of that, It's like instead of taking it from the outside and starting a revolution and burning it from the outside in, he gets involved in the inside. Like if I could describe it, like Katniss wins the Hunger Games and then becomes a member of the Capitol.
Sure.
And burns the Capitol down from the inside.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is. It is really good though. So I mean, it was decent. It was a page turner. I flipped through the pages.
I will get that series read eventually.
The second book was better than the first one. The author definitely matured. You could tell that this book he was a little younger. The author has definitely matured, at least. But that's just.
Did you ever get around to reading the Lightbringer series?
I have not actually. I need to.
Corwin.
Well, I want to.
Oh, good.
I want to know if Light Blade was good, because I'm gonna read it anyway because I love Samil Akhtar. So, yeah, I'm enjoying Fire and Blood. It's really good. It honestly, it's better than the Silmarillion.
Wow.
The Silmarillion's good. It's a little bit hard to read.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. It's just history. It's a history book, but it's so much more readable.
Lightbringer, we're talking like the Black Prism, right?
Yeah, super good. Read that.
Okay. I will.
It's
good stuff.
Because I got sucked back into R.A. Salvatore's Legend of Drizzt. Again.
I need to get back into that too. So
and there's a lot of books in that series, but
there's a ton.
So, like, I've already finished book 1 through. I think I'm on book 10 right now.
Wow.
I have a lot of time to read. My job is very fast paced for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And there's 10 hours where I don't do much. So.
Did you stop reading Wheel of Time?
I did.
You were at book 5, right?
No. I'm on book 10.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My one complaint about the Wheel of Time at this point, the books are very good. I like the story. I like the world building. There's just too many stinking characters. I'm an advanced reader. I'm not like a little boy.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
There is way too many characters, and I found myself, especially this last book, skipping entire chapters once I saw certain names because one, I just didn't care about the person. I was like, I don't care about this.
Nynaeve? Or
It was the Aes Sedai, wasn't it?
I couldn't even tell you who I was skipping because eventually I started like at first I was skipping. I always say her name wrong because we always joke. Nynaeve. I always say her name. It's a running joke on the show. Okay, guys. Yeah. I always say her name. Nynaeve.
I'm pretty sure one time you called her Nineveh.
Yeah.
Like from the Bible.
It's better than Nynaeve.
Like the city.
Anyway, at least Nineveh's a cool sounding name. Anyway,
it's a good name.
I went back and I read it and I was like, all right, I'm growing on her character. I'm growing on freaking mostly. But then there's just random people that show up. Egwene, I started to grow a little bit. A lot of times I was like, man, she just needs to grow up. Grow up. And then the one thing that does piss me off through the whole show is everyone gives, or not show, but the show, that's a whole different point. The books is everyone is always ragging on Rand all the time.
Yes.
Everybody is. But here's the one thing they never do. Nobody ever asks Rand, except now we're at book 10 and there's the one old legend Aes Sedai that comes back. No one ever asks Rand at any point how he's doing.
Yeah.
No one ever goes up to him and is like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
No one asks him.
It's frustrating, but man, it pays off hard because there's a scene where he puts the women in their place, and it's wonderful.
But I did stop reading it because I lost interest simply because there's so many characters at this point.
Yeah. You are at the end of the slog. You made it to the end of the slog. Book 11 is the best one.
I still got to get through book 10. I got to buy it.
Okay.
I got to buy 10, 11, 12. But there's just so many characters at this point. It's like I find myself, and the thing that pissed me off now is that in the books that I do, the mass paperback produced box sets, in the back they've gotten rid of half the glossary and half the names. So when I go back, I'm like, who the freak is this person?
Well, it's
I'm like, oh, they don't have this person. Who is?
It's because 9 and 10 are half the story. They take place simultaneously.
But I mean, even still, there's
Yeah.
that's my problem. My problem is it's very hard for me to keep up with.
Yes.
Because it's like, okay,
Not
I've
only
finally
that.
got to the point where I like Nynaeve, or at least I'm tolerating her, and I can read her chapters, and I'm doing good. And then they introduce another character, and each of those characters has each of the main characters. Remember, we started off with like 7, right?
Yeah.
And now each of those 7 have their own branching paths.
They have their own, they have their own group of people too.
And each of those 7 have 7 other people that are attached to them. And now we're at the point where those 7, so now we're at like whatever that is, like 79 people, have 3 or 4 of them that are under. So there's like at this point there's like 30 main characters, and I'm just over it.
Yep. Not only that, but some of the characters have multiple names.
Yes.
And it's really confusing, and you can't rely, because I'm doing the audiobooks. I had to pause because I got through book 6, and now I'm put that on pause because I want to read the Stormlight Archive before the 5th one comes out, and then I'll get back to Wheel of Time. But so I don't have that appendix at the end, so I have to rely on Wikipedia, and then that has spoilers. I'm like, oh dang it, I didn't want to know that.
I don't have Wikipedia where I'm reading. I don't have internet.
Yeah, you don't want it though.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I had
It'll spoil a lot of stuff for you.
Yeah.
So I'll get around to it.
I feel your pain, but you're right there. You're right there at the end of the, because it absolutely slows down. And like I'm an apologist. Okay, I fully understand that the series has flaws, and I loved all of them. Like I would have kept reading if the series was longer. I would have just ate it up because I loved the world building. I loved the characters, and I could have kept going on forever. It's too long, and the problem is Robert Jordan married his editor. She's a fantastic editor, and the first couple books are real solid, and then they started banging, and she couldn't say no to him anymore. And the books, they just stretch out in the middle. They stretch out, and they get too long. They needed to be trimmed, and then he found out he was dying, and he's like, okay, let's make them shorter again so I can finish.
That's really funny if you look at it that way.
That's 100% what happened. Look, see? Matt agrees with me. Matt's in the books. Okay?
Yeah.
But with Matt, I understand. Like you said, there's one main character. Yeah, it's Rand, obviously.
Okay. No, he's agreeing that it should be longer. Okay.
There's one main character. It's Rand. Yeah. But when you have, let's say at this point, we've read at this point, I want to argue, I have 9 books. We'll just say 10 books for the sake of math, and there's like 50 chapters each book, give or take. So we're looking at like 500 chapters. When 150 of those chapters, when well over half of those chapters,
right,
don't even have Rand in them, there's a lot more than just one main character.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Rand, but again, he's only a third of the book.
Yeah.
Right.
As a series a whole. And so there's a lot of main characters, and it's just like Game of Thrones. There's who is the main character in Game of Thrones? Give it to me.
They keep dying. That's the thing.
There's not. There's so many characters in Game of Thrones, and there's a lot of main characters. There's main families and there's main groups of people, because this isn't just telling the story of a person. It's telling the story of an epic of time, and hence Wheel of Time. It's telling a part of time. And so it's an overall arcing story. So there's a lot of characters in it, and that's one thing I will say to freaking who wrote Game of Thrones? Gosh, man, my brain.
George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin. That's where I will say George R. R. Martin is doing a little better right now than Jordan is. There is a lot of characters in Game of Thrones. There's a ton. For those of you who've seen the show and not read the books,
there's more. Yeah,
so much, but there isn't. He hasn't crossed that line at any point, I felt, in Game of Thrones, where I was like, there's way too many people to keep up with. Jordan has.
Yeah. It could, and the other problem is not all of them are super relevant.
Yes.
And so a lot of them will be like, oh, this is interesting, but then it doesn't really, their arc isn't really important to the end of the book, which, maybe if he was able to finish it, they would have been more important, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is literally everyone's sentiment, which is why that stupid article was so retarded, saying that what was the argument they were trying to make? Yeah. Rafe Judkins said the reason that he made the changes to Perrin's character, having him kill his wife, is because no one related with Perrin. Every single person I've talked to immediately loves Perrin and dislikes Matt, and then switches by the end because Robert Jordan doesn't know what to do with Perrin. But you instantly fall in love with Perrin. He's always everyone's favorite. Until books 10, where he's just trying to find his wife the whole time, and that it takes way too much time.
I really like Matt in the books.
Matt, if Matt isn't your favorite by the end of the books, you're stupid.
Yeah, if that's not your favorite by book like 5 or 6. Matt's amazing.
Yeah, and I agree with Matt on that. Nynaeve, freaking Nineveh. I hated her. I hate her guts. Like, I hated her guts until literally book 7 or 8. Like anytime I saw her in the book, I was just like, man, do I really have to read this chapter? Gag me.
She does have one of the coolest endings, though. So.
Oh yeah,
It's really it gets there, but anyway, Drizzt is fun. I only read the first one, which I found out was actually the fourth one.
Yes.
So I did a Mark Clark, but it's because it was Audible's fault. It said it was number 1 because it takes place chronologically, but I wanted publication order.
Yeah, publication order is.
It was a fantastic book, though, and I fully intend on reading the first 6 at least, because I want to read the actual first book, the Icewind Dale, and I want to fit. And since I started it, I need to finish the Homeward.
Yeah, the Sojourn series. Yeah,
I will read the first 6 books eventually.
You'll read 6, and then you'll read 7, 8, 9, and then you'll be like, I need to read 10, 11, 12.
It's really good. It's really good.
After that, but yeah.
But please finish Wheel of Time. Don't give up.
I will. I just have to like get the noose off of my neck, and then I'll. It is Wheel of Time. Like realize it's a slog. It's a good book. For those of you who are watching, it is a good series. It is a very good series. I just found, because I read a lot. Like I read a ton, and I read 1,000 pages this past week at work. And so reading it all that fast, I just found to be exhausting. At the end of book 10, mentally, I was just like, I'm exhausted at this point. And I found that once I read 1 through 3 or 1 through 4, and then I read the whole Harry Potter series, and then I read 5, 6, and then I read another group of books. I can't remember, Aragon or whatever it was. And then I read 7, 8, 9, 10, and now I'm at 10. So 7, 8, 9, and I was just like, I am exhausted. So I've just got to break them up. But they are very good. I'm not trying to disparage them. They are very well written.
Yeah, no, I loved Homeward, Homebound, Hometown, what's it called? What's book 4? Homebound?
For what one? What series?
Homeland.
Yeah.
I got there. I loved it.
Legend of Drizzt. Yeah. Homeland, Sojourn, and
I know. Okay, it's too late. Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, I already finished book 4.
Yeah, you might as well just start chronologically instead of release date.
I tried to, and Amazon told me that the other one was book 1 because they lied.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, gentlemen, I gotta go eat.
It's good talking to you. It's been like half a year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes in life.
Yeah.
A lot of changes in life. So, anyway, all right, gentlemen, it's awesome. It's good to see you guys.
See ya.
I'll be watching the stream while I eat.
You're gonna watch House of the Dragon, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the first season. Liked it a lot.
Okay, you better come talk about that.
The Jinx too. The Jinx has been good.
Oh, the Jinx is fantastic.
Haven't even heard of it, to be honest.
Dude,
so,
watch The Jinx. It's on HBO. It's the real life. It's a true crime documentary. It's the best.
Fantastic.
It's the best true crime documentary ever made. It's so good.
I don't know about that, but it was good. It's been good.
All right, guys, we'll see you.
All right.
Nancy.
Okay.
Hey, I got to get off soon too, though. So we
Okay.
can talk about
So
some-
how about the Jinx, though, man?
Man,
dude?
I told you last episode I was super excited for this one because every single time he opens his mouth, he implicates himself, and this episode did not.
Dude, seriously, he's like, hey, so if
Okay.
if
You know the
I ask
no,
you,
wait.
like, would
Wait.
you lie
You know
about that?
the movie trope where they catch someone in a lie, like, I never told you that he was a doctor, right? It happens in real life with the I never told you where I buried the body.
Right?
Yeah, that was so good.
I never knew. I didn't know where she was buried. Wait, what? Who said anything about her being buried? Like, we thought she was still might be alive.
Yeah, but even in the very beginning, when he caught him in those small lies about making up Frisbee and Uno, playing that with his family, I was like, my god!
I used to play Frisbee with my mommy. The Frisbee wasn't even invented. You liar.
So crazy.
Yeah, that was so good because he's painting the story and becoming sympathetic to the jury. And then he's just like, no, bam, 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 you're a liar. You can't be trusted.
Dude, that one line where he's like, that one line, I had to pause. I was cracking up so hard where he was like, I think you just set the record for the longest question you've ever answered. You've ever asked me. It took up 16 lines. Well, I think you've broken the record for perjury in a trial. Like, order! You know, we stricken from the record, but everyone heard it, baby.
You know what? The judge was like, they're like, hey, objection, and he's like denied. He's like, I don't care about you guys.
Yeah.
Like, that was okay. Like,
yeah, no, the judge on this one was like, yeah, no, let's hear him out.
like,
but
seriously.
One thing I noticed, I don't know if you caught it too, but in the very beginning, when the defenders, the defense was, questioning him and everything, he had that. They specifically talked about the prompter, and he says, "Okay, is your mental faculty, your hearing is not so great, so you need this teleprompter to read off these questions, right?" And he says, "Yeah." And then there were several times he was asked questions, and he doesn't
even look at it. Yeah,
he just answered the questions. I'm
well,
like,
did you see his voice completely change too? In the beginning of the episode, he's like, oh, I'm a frail old man. And then by the end of the episode, he's just talking normally.
Yep. Yeah, it's insane.
So great. What a fantastic episode. They get the guilty verdict, and apparently there's another episode.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what could be on the last?
Who does he assassinate? I don't know.
Well, I think they're going after all the other dirty people in his life. Wanted a slice of that pie, right?
Man, like, what a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I love too that they were literally like, yeah, after 9 days of cross-examination, I was like, no, I got to give you a time limit. Like, we're putting an end to this cross-examination.
it does seem
on for 9 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I just never thought I never thought that happened in real life, though. That like yes, my friend is dead, but I never said he was Edmond Dantes, right? I never said his name. Oops. I didn't. I never told you where I buried the body.
Yeah.
So good.
It's not buried in the cemetery. It's buried in the bridge.
Yeah. Seriously, that was such a good testimony to watch. But the problem with that, though, the problem is that even after 9 days of him being cross-examined, proven that he's a liar, having him say in front of the jury, hey, I would lie about anything to save my butt, basically. Yeah. And the jury still took like 3 days to say, hey, he's guilty.
Yeah,
it's like,
that was pretty insane.
Why would it take you that long after listening to him?
It's just the high profile nature of it. You got to make sure, because if you come out with the wrong verdict on a, something like that, like there's backlash.
Yeah, I suppose, but at the same time, I'm like, guys,
it shouldn't have taken 3 days to acquit Cal Rittenhouse, but there was a lot of social pressure.
True, that's true.
Yeah. And then the fact that nobody told him.
Well, okay, and that actually leads me to the next point, because did you guys watch the next episode thing at the end of it?
I don't know what's going on, man.
It does not look good. All
Yeah.
I'm saying is that even after this like success of actually getting him nailed to the crime, this next episode makes it look like there might be some grounds for mistrial or something like that. And it's that particular thing you brought up, David, that I'm like, I wonder if that's what they use to say, hey, this was a mistrial because nobody even told him. None of his lawyers even told him.
Yeah. Well, I think
that's crazy.
I hope that's not the route that it's going. But yeah, Mark Clark, I've been served with jury duty like 3 or 4 times, and before they even get to the selection process, like, oh, never mind, you're not needed. I'm like, no, I want to serve. It would be so fun.
No, I got it one time, and it was for New Mexico, and I've lived in Utah for like 10 years now. I'm like, I can't do that. I want to. I would love to serve on a jury. Okay, I would eat that up.
But anyway, I hope that's not the route that they're going, Jared. But what it seems like is because they cast they threw shade at the lawyers, saying it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing. They were flubbing all the time.
Sorry, you added a dangling participle on your question. Objection.
Yeah.
Well, but it seemed like to me, it seemed like these lawyers didn't care anymore. It was just a paycheck to them. They even said
I think by the end of the trial,
like crazy.
By the end of the trial, they had to know that like they were losing,
for sure,
right?
For sure. But I think they, just like all of Durst's other friends, so-called friends, they just wanted some of his money. And I think the lawyers were in on that too. They said, hey, we can represent you again, but we're going to charge an exorbitant amount of money. And they didn't care the outcome one way or another. They just wanted their pay cut, and then they hightailed it out of there.
But well, the thing too with this next episode that it teased too is that it shows his wife on the stand testifying about something. So it's like, okay, if they're done with the trial, what is she doing getting up on? Or well, I guess it did also mention that they're trying him now for the death of Catherine. So it may be that it goes into that a little bit, but it scared me as soon as it started saying stuff, going in there and it teased, hey, like I was like, okay, maybe this is not the happy ending that we're looking for.
I don't know that
we know there's a happy
one
ending.
Shot of him on the phone calling out to all his friends or whatever, like there was nobody answering him. All his friends, so-called friends, just abandoned him because they got what they wanted from him, and they know they can't get any more money.
At the very least, we know he's dead now, and we know where he is now, so there is a happy ending, no matter how this show ends.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if we should look at it like that. I mean, it's never okay that someone dies.
Yeah,
but it's definitely okay that.
I just want to know if we get answers.
I don't know. A lot of people were okay with Judas dying.
See, I mean, I don't think we should be hoping for someone to be dead. Maybe I should put it that way.
I'm not hoping for Robert Durst to be dead. He is dead, and we know where he's ending up.
I just want to know if we found out, where the bodies were buried. Whatever.
No,
happened,
I actually. So when
that would be great. That would be great.
No, yeah. So before I actually realized that he died and everything like that, I did look to see if they'd ever actually solved the thing with Kathy. And I found a lot of stuff that basically said that they did try him for the murder, but they never were able to find where she was buried, and they never actually said, "Hey, he did murder Kathy."
Spoilers.
Lovely.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked if you guys wanted to know that first. My bad. Sorry, guys. Should have got that to myself.
Yeah. Spencer.
You see how much this boy drools? Like, this is insane.
Yeah,
I think he's teething or something. Every time he's popping a new tooth, he just drools like crazy.
Yes, spare the rod.
Anyway, it was a great episode, though. Like, it was so good. And I mean, oh gosh, it's crazy how with our system, unfortunately,
Yeah.
you're always on the edge of your seat in those cases because you never know, even how good it may have seemed to go. You never know if they're going to be acquitted or if they're going to actually be convicted.
And with a case this old too, like the only evidence that you have is all like testimonial stuff. Like you're not going to have the kind of hardcore like the blood on the gloves like you're going to have with the OJ trial. You know, like
yeah.
Or blood on the
or a body chopped up in his trunk.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, I just hope that whatever they're alluding to in this second season, I don't know, or this last episode, it sounds like we might be looking into
well, all I know is that I'm sick and I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah.
So I've been disciplined. I've saved it for like Wednesday at least, so it's fresh in my mind, and I'm not waiting this time. So,
Okay, well, no spoilers, Alan.
no spoilers.
I don't want to hear any spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Well, I should probably go.
Outer Range is good though. You finished it, I assume.
I think I'm on the last episode. Yeah, it's the last episode. It's pretty good. I don't know where they're going with this last episode yet, obviously, because I just started it. But I think it's been a good season, and it definitely leaves it open for another season, I think. So they're planning on doing another one, I think.
I like it. My problem with it is it seems very different from the first season. Because the first season, you just have this hole that shows up, and you're like,
right. Well, now there's like parallel storylines, right?
Now,
like now you have to follow Joy's story in a completely different timeline. You're like, it's
which is less so far from the first two episodes.
Interesting.
Less interesting. But the other issue is the first season acted like what's his bucket, Royal didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
and then it was revealed in the first season
that he did.
Actually came from the past, and so it was just kind of weird looking back on the first season how he seemed confused about everything and why this hole was showing up, but he knows it the whole time. I don't know, but we'll see. It's intriguing. Mm-hmm. My wife doesn't like it because she hates Autumn, but I think she's better in this season than
she's better in the season for sure.
She was in the first season. She was insufferable in the first season. I just hate.
I do think that she's kind of annoying though. Like she's definitely like you're like, what is your problem?
Yeah.
And there's definitely some stuff with Autumn later in the season where I'm like, okay, I was enjoying you, but now I don't know if I'm going to enjoy watching it as much. So we'll see with this last episode how it goes. But
I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. I wish the time travel rules were a little bit more set in stone. Like it kind of just feels random. People are just going all over the place with no control. It's not like Dark, where there are very specific rules and they play around those rules in a way that you can like predict. Well, you can't predict where Dark goes, but when it goes somewhere, you're like, okay, this is a natural extension of the rules that you provided in this. It's an interesting story, but there are literally no rules, and so it's harder to get invested in for sure. And the only thing that's keeping this together is just it's Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
because he's so commanding, right?
He is.
But I wish the rules were tighter because then I enjoy the story more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, Mark, I do need to watch Dark.
Yeah, wibbly wobbly timey-wimey. Like episode 4. Did you watch episode 4, Jared? Before? Yeah, I know you have to go, but did you watch episode 4?
Yeah, I did.
Literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. What was episode 4?
I'm trying to think what it was. So there was
there's Boom. There's the landmine episode.
Yeah, the landmine one, and then what was
Stephen Moffat? He was Doctor
Who.
Who stuck.
This one was about she walks out and then they break the thing and then there's the lady. So here's the thing. I suspected that was the case this whole time. But like it didn't make sense how she became
nothing makes sense. This entire episode is the entire episode is a mystery box that they didn't have an answer for, and so they forced an answer, and the answer is retarded and doesn't explain anything. Episode 4 is retarded. It also got the most views out of all of these episodes. It went back up because episode 3 was actually good, so people came back for episode 4, and it got episode 1 was 2.6 million overnight, and then it went down to 2, and then people came back. It's 2.62. So everyone's record ratings for the no, they're still really bad. If you look at the ratings for season 1, it was 10 million.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
And then with Jodie Whittaker slowly drove the entire show down to like 4 million. And then people came back
For David Tennant.
It bumped back up to 7. And then garbage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was a weird episode for sure because
it makes no sense.
It was literally like, I mean, okay, so here's the thing I'll say about it. It felt like a good Doctor Who like episode because it definitely kind of felt like a traditional episode.
Well, it had like a hook that was interesting, but there was no answer to it.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It was like, okay, like you're seeing this, and then so she goes through her whole life, and then she just turns into this lady.
It literally makes there is no explanation for it. It makes no sense. It's just, hey, I have this idea that's kind of spooky, but I don't have an answer for why it works, but we're going to film it. Literally, he talked about, he pitched this idea to Stephen Moffat 10 years ago, and Stephen Moffat turned it down.
Well, because like, I mean, yeah, there's so many things that don't make sense. Like, why in the world? I mean, if she's the one, then right? Like, what is she whispering to all?
What was the point of the entire? What was the entire point of the Trump character?
Yeah, like it was.
What was the point of assassinating Trump?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then
it had nothing to do with the story.
Oh, she's like, oh, I finally know what it is. Right?
And if it's herself, why is she telling everyone not to talk to her? None of this makes any freaking sense. It's retarded. And people are going to be like, oh, it was aesthetic. We liked this episode. It was moody and stupid.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't the best. But I will say it did feel more like a Doctor Who. Like in that,
I would say episode 3 did. This one did not for me.
I felt like
there hasn't been a single episode where the answer is aliens. It's these first 4 episodes. It's been magic.
Yeah, it's true. But this one felt
this is
like
not Doctor Who.
One right, like the blink. This felt like something like that.
Well, I wanted to like this episode because Chudy Gatwa wasn't in it. but to sacrifice that benefit, you had to spend the entire episode with Ruby Rose, and she cannot carry an episode on her own.
It didn't work. It wasn't working.
It's complete and utter nonsense. Why is Doctor Who about magic now?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like there was no reason for it at all. Just that they broke the thing. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, it's mythical. But like it didn't explain the mythical magic at all. It was just like it's just mythical.
And then there was a time loop that stopped the time loop that. But what was the point of any of it? Can you explain what the point of anything in this episode was?
Nope.
Nothing. It was a good idea. Oh, that's a creepy idea of a thing that's always and there was no answers because he didn't have an answer because he's an idiot.
Yeah, it was definitely for sure.
This episode pissed me off.
Yeah. I figured, I'd give it another chance. That's I was part of the 2.62, trying to give it another chance.
I wasn't. I haven't given Disney a single view. I've pirated all 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So, David, have you downloaded those yet? Because I am out of space. They took up all of my my Google Drive storage.
Hey. Yeah, I've
All right.
downloaded the 3 that you put on there, I think.
Okay. Jared has had to go for the last 30 minutes, and I need to go puke.
All
So
right.
we're gonna have a very special hour and 30-minute episode.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Oops, I'm
Can't
showing
remember
my.
the last time that happened.
I'm flashing
All right,
my
well, you guys
Google
have a good
Drive.
night. I'll probably have to watch the next Doctor Who so we can.
I'm watching this whole season. I'm making a video on every episode because I'm so pissed.
All right. Well, I'll be there right by your side.
Okay.
All right. Oh dear. Bye, Jared.
All right. I gotta go too. It's been super fun. Thanks for tuning in. Some good people in the chat. Make sure you check out my Doctor Who videos because we should get episode 2 out this week in 3 days if BBC doesn't hit me with another copyright strike. And I'm working on episode 3, and now I have to do episode 4. Trying to get ahead of it. Wish I didn't get sick because I could have gotten a lot more work done. But I slept all day Saturday and all day today, so I haven't done anything. I don't have a video for tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Oh, that was my stomach. Did you hear it? Probably not. Nope. It's grumbling. I need to go evacuate from one end or the other. So
lovely.
It's a coin flip. Which one will it be? I don't know. Anyway. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a blast. Hopefully there will be another video this week, and it'll be great. So, bye.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining, so please consider joining Patreon.